All right, everyone, buckle up. We're back with another deep dive, and this time we're shifting gears into the fast lane of the EV world.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be checking out the Zeekr 007, this electric car coming out of China that's got everybody buzzing, and let me tell you, we've been digging deep. Reviews, comparisons, even found someone online who did a whole breakdown of the configuration options. Seems like someone's got this car on their wish list.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this the Tesla killer everyone's saying it is? Or is there something else going on here with this 007? What's got you so intrigued?
Well, the thing about Zeekr is, it's not some scrappy startup trying to make a name for itself. They're actually backed by Geely, and those guys own Volvo, Lotus, some big names.
Oh, wow, so they're not messing around then.
Definitely not. They're serious about shaking things up. You see, they're going for that luxury feel, but without the luxury markup. Kind of throws a wrench in the whole you gotta pay to play game.
Totally. Like, are they going to be the ones to crack the code?
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to see how this plays out. All right, well, enough about the company. Let's get to the good stuff. The car itself, the 007. Now, this ain't your typical sedan design, is it? It's got some serious road presence.
Yeah, they really went for it with the looks. It's sporty, but still practical.
Hmm.
The designers did a good job of hiding how big it actually is, though that roofline, that sparked some debate, for sure.
Oh, yeah, some folks love that kind of fastback style, but others like, what about my headroom? But we got to talk about that front end, that LED panel. They're calling it the Stargate, right?
Yeah, the Stargate, it's definitely a choice. Some people are calling it futuristic, others, well, let's just say they have other words for it. But hey, you got to give Zeekr credit. They know how to get people talking.
For sure. No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Yeah.
But okay, let's imagine we're stepping inside this thing. We've got Napa leather, a giant touchscreen, like seriously, 15 inches, ambient lighting everywhere. I mean, are we in a car or a spa?
It's that whole luxury tech experience they're going for, and they're not skimping on the tech either. They're using the Snapdragon 8295 processor, the same one you find in like top-of-the-line smartphones, right? So no lag, everything's super responsive.
Nice. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And did you hear about that Easter egg they hid in the infotainment system?
Yeah.
Something about Gothenburg, Sweden?
Oh, yeah, a little nod to their Volvo connection there. I think it's cool. It shows they haven't forgotten where they came from. And speaking of cool details, did you see what that one owner said about the sound system? Said it's like having your own personal concert hall on wheels.
Oh, man, now that's what I'm talking about. But okay, enough about the fancy features. Let's talk about how this thing actually drives. Does it live up to the hype?
Even the base model isn't slow, but that dual motor version, Tesla better watch out. We're talking 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. But here's the kicker, and this is huge for EVs, the range.
All right. Don't leave us hanging. What kind of range are we talking about?
Get this, up to 870 kilometers on a single charge.
870. That's wild. We should probably mention, though, that's based on the Chinese testing, right? The CLTC. It's usually a bit more generous than what we're used to seeing here. So something to keep in mind for anyone comparing it to other EVs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got this powerful EV, crazy range, but like numbers on a page only tell you so much. What really matters is how it feels to actually drive the thing.
And this is where the Zeekr 007 really surprised me, honestly. Like, across the board, reviewers were raving about how agile it is, how composed it feels, even when you're really pushing it.
Really? So it drives smaller than it looks. That's pretty impressive for, an SUV-sized thing. What's the secret sauce there?
Well, they definitely put a lot of work into the suspension tuning, and that lower center of gravity from the batteries helps too. But honestly, I think a lot of it comes down to just how electric powertrains work. That instant torque, makes it feel way more responsive.
Yeah, that instant torque is something you hear a lot about with EVs. Makes sense that it would really change the whole driving experience. Now, I did see some comparisons to the BMW i3 in terms of interior space. How'd that shake out? Spacious or cramped?
Most reviewers said it's actually pretty spacious, especially up front. Of course, that sloping roofline, like we talked about, it does eat into the headroom a little bit in the back. But hey, style over comfort sometimes, right?
Wow, that's true. Sometimes you got to make some sacrifices for those sleek looks. Speaking of sacrifices, though, we got to talk about the elephant in the room with any EV these days. Autonomous driving. What's the deal with the 007?
Zeekr's aiming high, man. Like, they're talking level 4 autonomy eventually.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't, like, engineers, what does that even mean?
Basically, it means that in certain conditions, the car could fully drive itself. Like, imagine being stuck in traffic, but your car's the one doing the work while you chill or whatever. Of course, right now, they're still rolling those features out.
Okay, so full self-driving is still a work in progress. But what about the stuff that's already out there? Any word on how well those features work?
So this is where it gets kind of interesting, and it shows you how different driving cultures can be. One reviewer, they tested the 007's autonomous stuff in China, and they actually found it to be a bit more cautious, I guess, than some other systems they'd used.
Cautious. I mean, isn't the whole point of self-driving to let the car, do its thing?
Right, but think about it. The way they design and calibrate those systems, it can be really different depending on where they're going to be used. In China, with those super busy cities, crazy traffic, a more conservative approach might actually make more sense for a lot of drivers. It's about building trust with the technology in a way that, feels right for that specific place.
Interesting. It's like the car is learning a whole different set of rules for the road.
Mm-hmm.
But let's zoom out a bit here.
Yeah.
Beyond the tech, beyond the driving experience, what's the bigger picture with this car? Like, why should someone who's not even thinking about buying a new car care about the Zeekr 007? So it's not just another car, huh? What's the takeaway here? Is this thing a game changer or what?
It's a statement, that's for sure. You got to think, for a long time, Chinese automakers, they were seen as the cheaper option, just trying to catch up to the big players. The 007 flicks the script.
Yeah, it does feel different, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they're not just trying to compete. They're trying to set a whole new standard.
Exactly. All that cutting edge tech, performance that'll blow you away, and a design that, well, we've talked about the design, haven't we? And then there's the price. That's where it gets really interesting, right? They're offering all this luxury, all this performance for like way less than what you'd expect to pay from, the big names.
Yeah, that's got to have the other guys sweating a bit.
Huh.
We've seen this kind of thing happen in other industries, but with cars, it feels different somehow.
It's not just about undercutting the competition, it's about raising the bar for everyone. And that's exciting, man. Imagine a world where when you're shopping for an EV, it's not just, okay, which Tesla do I want? There are all these other players pushing the boundaries, coming up with new ideas.
More competition, that means faster innovation, better tech, more choices for everyone. I like the sound of that.
Me too, man. Me too.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our deep dive into the Zeekr 007, a car that's not just turning heads, but maybe, just maybe, changing the whole game. And for all you listeners out there, keep your eyes peeled because like we've been saying, this EV revolution, it's just getting started.
Who knows, maybe the next time you're out for a drive, you'll see a Zeekr 007 cruising down the road, that Stargate front end lit up like a spaceship. See you next time.
Catch you later.